What's up, Domino community? Today is the 1st of July, and I thought that considering it's a new month, it's time to start a new personal record. But this isn't going to be a very typical personal record, you see, because instead of having like a very large setup like most big personal records would be, this is going to be a big domino city in essence, so it's going to be lots of really cool 3D structures. And I'm going to be vlogging much of my process of building it, which I'm definitely looking forward to, and I hope that you can find it helpful along the way at some point. And also, I realised that it might be good for me to do this because my last behind the scenes video was nearly 2 years ago with the autumn screening in 2024. I don't know how that happened, but I'm definitely excited to get back into it. And I'm also excited to get back into building in general because the last couple of weeks, I've actually not done much at all. Not only because of the heat we had last week, but also because the setup took several days to plan. And in fact, let's have a look at that plan now.
Okay, so the first part of the planning process was on my big domino project Goodnose document. So over here we have all of my domino colors, which I eventually ended up allocating into gradients, which I then allocated each color to a different structure in my numbers document. So if we head around to that now, then over here we can see which wall each color is going to be used for and also how many of each color I have. And then I have a different spreadsheet here which gives details about all the structures. I won't look over in too much detail. And I also have this spreadsheet for progress. And the special thing about this is that not only am I going to be counting the number of dominoes I built each day, like to the precise number, which I don't do super often, but I'm also going to be timing how long I spend building dominoes each day. And that's not something I've done since January 2020 somehow. Anyway, I'm excited to get on with this, so let's cut to the time lapse.
Okay, it's day 4 of building now, and here's where I'm up to for progress.
So far I've been working on this black standard wall. And the reason why this is a standard wall and not a cube, and that is, if you look from above, you can see that it's not connected everywhere, is because sometimes I find that when I'm building like a tall cube, it's often a bit fiddly to connect it in every spot without it being too far apart. So I know this is probably a little bit less stable, and also from some angles, like over here, it might look a bit weird having a gap, but I think this is something I'm going with, and it's gonna work pretty well for this. Also, one thing you might notice is that I've used the alternating technique rather than column technique for this, which isn't what you're normally meant to do for walls, and on these corners is a little unstable, so I may end up modifying this a bit further, but it's working pretty well. Also might be wondering about these clear dominoes, but they were there sort of as like a window type design, but since I'm at this point having run out and it's going to be like probably double the height it is now, this one's going to look a bit weird, but I think as I build each of these I'm definitely going to learn what is good and bad about each of them, because now from doing this I know that for every 2 layers there are 14 clear dominoes, so I think if I do the maths for the other ones it should be pretty simple.
Okay, so that time lapse has only been going on for 10 minutes, but I thought I'd pause it to get back to you about something.
So you know how I was saying earlier about how we have these 3 stacked dominoes over here and it's a bit unstable? Well, I did manage to change it, and now you only have 2 double stacked ones here. But the thing about it that's also better is that if we look with these electronic dominoes, all of them now face the same direction. Because before, where you had the, like say, this clear domino here, you had 3 of them facing this direction, but then these ones were perpendicular, which looked a bit odd, and I think that's just because of how the rotation of the shape ended up being. But I think it was worth changing, and I think I can also make pretty good use out of this, and just generally looks cooler having them being all facing the same direction. Anyway, back to the time lapse. Okay, so I've finally finished this black and white structure over here, but now that this is done, the next one to do is going to be a purple one in this corner around here. But the interesting thing about this is that instead of it being like a very consistent wall throughout, this one's gonna have a Blockix base, which I think I'm gonna have as like arches, so like 2 arches either side, and then you build up from there. And then also some kinetic planks over there that are also blue and purple that will go on top. and then it will go back to the normal cube technique. So it's gonna be pretty cool, and let's get on with it. Okay, so progress on the structure is going decently well. As you can see here, I have quite a unique base to this design, except I didn't realise that I'd actually messed up the proportions quite a bit, because somehow I thought that these blockings at the bottom would be the same width as this domino structure, but it's actually slimmer. So we've then got this kinetic plank structure here, which wasn't meant to protrude, which does look pretty cool, and I think is fairly stable. But then as we go up here, we've got these clear purple dominoes, and I did some maths to try and make sure that they weren't like as low down as they were in this first structure. But considering how many lavender and lilac dominoes I still have left, and not very many of the clear purple, I've got a feeling I've done the maths completely wrong. So this might look pretty weird by the end. Another thing that also is a little disconcerting is that I think it was partly because I was building in the dark earlier, but it looks like in both directions, it's getting wider towards the top, like as in it's leaning outwards. I think that's probably because this base isn't super strong, but this does need to stay up for like another 3 weeks, so I am a bit concerned about it. I've tried moving them in a bit closer over here in both directions, which hopefully will work, but well, let's just hope it stays up, I guess. Okay, so this purple tower is now finished and just about still standing. If you look from the side here, it is pretty insane how much it's leaning, but I think I found out why, and that's because these clear purple dominoes here, I have a feeling they're slightly slimmer than the lavender dominoes in the middle, which means that every domino here just leans outward. Anyway, I'm about to start working on hopefully a more stable structure, and that's going to be teal, which I don't have many bulk dominoes for, but I have gone through kinetic planks, Basixx, and HVAC domino creations from my mixed packs, which as you can see, I've got quite a few mixed bags and things for. So hopefully this is pretty cool. Okay, so I'm going to be voiceovering the rest of this time lapse because I didn't vlog anything on that day. Anyway, so as you can see, I'm building up this teal structure. At the bottom, I did a 3x6 cube with Sea Storm dominoes in the middle, so quite a niche bulk dominoes colour, surrounded by the clear teal. Then we had this Basixx and kinetic planks layer, something that you'll actually see in quite a lot of future structures. And then on top of that, I used the teal H5 dominoes and clear teal dominoes once again, but this time it's thinner. It is actually one of the smallest structures in this whole thing, but I think it looks pretty interesting. And now this berry structure that I'm starting on, which I'll explain more in the next one, is a standard wall again, so it's fairly similar to the black and white structure at this point. But with that, that's actually going to be the end of this video because that's all the building I did for the first week. If you have any questions about this project or want to see anything changed in behind the scenes video in the future, then do leave a comment below, because even though I've already filmed all the behind the scenes for the setup, I won't have finished editing those videos by the time this video goes up, but I'll see you in that video next Saturday. Oh, and here's an outtake before you go. So I made pretty good progress on this first grey. While it possibly would be more stable doing a cube, there are a lot of... That's awkward.